Welcome to World Code Updates, your daily source for global events and breaking stories. On July 2025, the Philippines awoke to headlines that electrified the nation and sent ripples of excitement from the bustling streets of Manila to the quietest provincial towns. The air was thick with anticipation as the first rays of sunlight touched the city, and the country braced itself for news that would change everything. Philippine oil shock. Nation sits on ocean of black gold, blared the news, the bold letters leaping off the front pages and echoing through every television and radio broadcast. For a country long struggling with energy shortages and economic challenges, this was more than just a headline. It was a surge of hope, a promise that the future could finally be different. Families gathered around their screens, some in disbelief, others with tears of joy, as neighbors exchanged excited whispers in markets and jeepneys. The report spoke of vast reserves beneath Philippine waters, reserves so significant they could rewrite the nation's destiny, alter the balance of power in Southeast Asia, and shake up the global energy landscape. Across Manila, Cebu, and the islands, excitement and disbelief spread like wildfire. Cafes buzzed with conversation, and even strangers found themselves united by a shared sense of anticipation. Social media erupted with #Pinoy Pride and #OilPinas, as millions of Filipinos took to their phones to share their joy, their dreams, and their hopes for a brighter tomorrow. The nation's digital heartbeat pulsed with unity and celebration. That evening, the president addressed the nation in a historic televised speech, promising not just prosperity, but a new era of Filipino strength, dignity, and self-reliance. The president's words echoed through living rooms and public squares, igniting a sense of pride and purpose. This was not just a corporate windfall but a national inheritance, an opportunity for every Filipino, from every walk of life, to dream bigger and reach higher. The promise was clear: better infrastructure, improved public services, new schools and hospitals, and a brighter future for all. The vision of progress was no longer a distant hope but a tangible goal within reach. For decades, the Philippines had been at the mercy of global oil markets, vulnerable to price shocks and supply disruptions that strained families and businesses alike. Now, this discovery offered the tantalizing prospect of true energy independence, a chance to chart a new course and secure the nation's future for generations to come. The headlines of that day marked the first chapter of a new national story, one filled with hope, ambition, and the promise of transformation. A nation was awakening, its people ready to claim their place on the world stage, united by pride and a renewed sense of purpose. The Philippines stood on the verge of transformation, its future brighter than ever before. A new dawn breaking over the archipelago, and a new chapter waiting to be written. The story of the Apalaki superfield began with what was supposed to be a routine geological survey, a standard mission that no one expected would change the course of history. The team was exploring the vast, mysterious expanse of the West Philippine Sea, an area long speculated to hold untapped secrets beneath its waves. Filipino and international scientists working side by side aboard the research vessel BRP Pag-asa were meticulously mapping the seabed. Their mission was to search for tectonic clues, signs of the Earth's restless movements, not to hunt for oil or gas. But late one night, as the ship quietly drifted under the stars, a junior geologist noticed something unusual: a massive dome-like anomaly hidden deep within the seismic data. At first, the team thought it might be a technical glitch or a misreading, but as they pored over the data, the evidence became impossible to ignore. Excitement rippled through the crew as they realized they had stumbled upon something extraordinary: a colossal hydrocarbon trap, far larger than anything previously discovered in the region. In honor of the Filipino sun god, they named their discovery the Apalaki Superfield, a name that would soon echo across scientific and political circles. When core samples were brought up and examined in the lab, the results were staggering. The field was confirmed to be a supergiant oil reserve, containing billions, perhaps even trillions of barrels of oil, enough to transform the nation's fortunes. Previous explorations in the area had only uncovered modest gas fields, nothing that hinted at the scale of this new find. The Apalaki Superfield was truly in a league of its own. Realizing the magnitude of their discovery, the crew maintained strict radio silence, fully aware that news of this find could send geopolitical shockwaves throughout the region and beyond. When the scientists finally presented their findings to government officials, the reaction was immediate: shock, disbelief, and then overwhelming excitement as the implications sank in. What began as a routine mission had, against all odds, unlocked the nation's economic destiny, offering hope for a brighter, more prosperous future. The Apalaki superfield quickly became a symbol of national pride and a beacon for a powerful new era, forever changing the story of the Philippines. The Apalaki superfield's technical details stunned the world. Conservative estimates put recoverable reserves at over 150 billion barrels of light, sweet crude. This instantly placed the Philippines among the world's top oil nations. The reservoir was a single, vast, highly porous sandstone, ideal for efficient extraction. High pressure would push oil to the surface, lowering production costs. Independent international consultants confirmed the find, boosting credibility and attracting investment. Some estimates suggested reserves could exceed 200 billion barrels. Oil prices dipped globally as markets reacted to the new supply. Filipino officials spoke with newfound confidence, promising transparent, world-class development. The Secretary of Energy called it a once-in-a-millennium blessing. The data was clear. This was a verified, world-class supergiant field. The Philippines had discovered a scientific and economic marvel. For ordinary Filipinos, Apalaki was about hope, a chance to change the nation's story. For generations, millions left home for work abroad. Now, a new dream emerged: prosperity at home. The promise of jobs in engineering, construction, and support industries was immense. National pride surged with celebrations and a sense of collective uplift. The Philippines, once seen as struggling, was now a source of global envy. Government plans included world-class hospitals, schools, and modern infrastructure. Talk of a sovereign wealth fund aimed to secure benefits for future generations. Optimism was tempered by calls for good governance and transparency. Civil society demanded anti-corruption measures to avoid the oil curse. The hope was for wisely managed wealth, not just riches. The dream, a fairer, more just Philippines. The discovery ignited the nation's imagination and determination. The news from Manila sent shockwaves through Moscow and beyond. Russia, long a global energy superpower, now faced a formidable new competitor. The Apalaki superfield threatened to upend Russia's strategy in Asia. Oil prices fell sharply as markets anticipated a flood of new supply. Russia's economy, reliant on high oil prices, felt the blow. Russian officials were uncharacteristically silent, signaling real concern. The Philippines' rise as a major non-OPEC producer could undermine Russia's leverage. Asian nations now had a new, stable supplier close to home. The discovery loosened the grip of Russia and OPEC on global energy. Moscow's official response was to question the timeline and feasibility. Behind the scenes, Russian strategists scrambled to adapt. A new era of competition and uncertainty had begun. As the Philippines celebrated, a shadow loomed from the north, China. The Apalaki superfield lies in the West Philippine Sea, a region China claims as its own. Beijing's initial reaction was a stern warning, insisting on joint development. Manila, now empowered, stood firm on its sovereign rights. The risk of increased Chinese harassment at sea grew. The government launched a diplomatic offensive, strengthening alliances with the US, Japan, and Australia. The message: Apalaki's development was a matter of Philippine sovereignty and regional stability. Analysts warned the oil field could become a flashpoint for conflict. Both sides were unlikely to back down easily. The Philippines had to balance strength with diplomacy. Prosperity was tied to peace and security. The nation's future depended on navigating the dragon's shadow. To grasp Apalaki's impact, consider the Philippines' long energy struggles. For decades, the nation relied on imported oil, vulnerable to global price shocks. The Malampaya gas field, discovered in the 1990s, was a game-changer but always finite. As Malampaya neared depletion, anxiety grew over looming energy shortages. The search for a new solution had yielded little, until now. Apalaki shattered the narrative of scarcity. The Philippines went from worrying about blackouts to becoming a global energy superpower. It was a dramatic reversal of fortune. The discovery marked a decisive break from a past defined by energy vulnerability. The Philippines' emergence as an energy giant challenges the old world order of Russia and OPEC. For decades, these powers controlled oil supply and prices, shaping global politics. Apalaki introduces a new independent player, unbound by quotas or political allegiances. As a democratic nation, the Philippines is seen as a stable, reliable supplier. Major economies now have an attractive alternative to Middle Eastern or Russian oil. The scale of Apalaki means the Philippines is a market maker, not a minor player. Low production costs put pressure on higher-cost producers. The old guard must adapt or lose influence. The Philippines' rise signals a more multipolar energy world. Apalaki is not just wealth, it's a force for democratizing global energy. Apalaki is not just a monumental opportunity, it is a defining test of the Philippines' wisdom, resolve, and national character. The choices made here will echo for generations, shaping the nation's destiny. Developing a deep-water supergiant field like Apalaki demands not only massive financial investment, but also advanced technology, world-class expertise, and unwavering commitment. It is a challenge that few nations have faced, and even fewer have mastered. The Philippines must attract reputable, experienced partners from around the globe, while fiercely protecting its own interests and sovereignty. Negotiations must be strategic, transparent, and always put the Filipino people first. Environmental stewardship is absolutely critical. The West Philippine Sea is a treasure trove of marine biodiversity, home to countless species and vital ecosystems that must be preserved for future generations. Strict science-based regulations must be enforced to balance economic development with the urgent need to protect these fragile ecosystems. Every decision must weigh both immediate gains and long-term consequences. By embracing innovation and global best practices, the Philippines has a unique chance to set a new global standard for responsible, sustainable oil extraction, showing the world that prosperity and environmental care can go hand in hand. Yet perhaps the greatest challenge lies in ensuring absolute transparency and rooting out corruption at every level. Without integrity, even the greatest resource can become a curse. Establishing a sovereign wealth fund with truly independent oversight is essential. This fund must be managed with the highest standards of accountability so that every Filipino benefits. Every contract must be made public, every dollar and peso accounted for, and every transaction open to scrutiny. Only then can trust be built and maintained. The nation must remain vigilant, learning from the mistakes of others to avoid the so-called oil curse that has plagued many resource-rich countries. Wise and forward-thinking leaders will use this windfall not just for today, but to fund a bold transition to renewable energy, investing in the future of the nation's children. The ultimate goal is clear: a diversified, resilient, and sustainable economy that thrives far beyond oil, empowering every Filipino to prosper. The Apalaki Superfield offers a once-in-a-lifetime chance, a rare moment in history that can transform the nation, if seized with wisdom, courage, and unwavering integrity.